Welcome to Singapore Property Talk Law, your personalized deep dive into all things Singapore property.
Yeah.
I'm Damien, and today we're joined by property expert Serene to unpack what's going on with the red-hot launch of Lentor Central Residences.
It's
93% sold out on its first weekend.
wow.
I mean, what is making this project such a huge draw for buyers?
It's definitely making a splash. 445 out of 477 units were snapped up,
Wow.
averaging about $2,200 per square foot.
Wow.
And 3 and 4 bedroom units, those were the crowd favorites.
Oh, interesting.
Which suggests a strong demand we're seeing from families and those maybe looking to upgrade from an HDB.
Yeah, that's incredible. I mean, so what's driving this frenzy, Serene? Is it just the location in Lentor, or is there something else going on here?
Yeah, location is definitely key. I mean, Lentor Central Residences, it's right by the Lentor MRT station.
All right.
And then you have the new Lentor Modern Mall that just opened up with shops and restaurants, which adds to the appeal. But it's not just about convenience. This project also taps into a larger trend that we're seeing, and that's the surge in demand for properties that are outside of the city center in what we call the outside central region, or OCR.
The OCR.
Yeah.
So it's hitting that sweet spot of accessibility and affordability.
Exactly. The prices start at under $1 million for a one-bedroom unit, which makes it really attractive to a wide range of buyers.
Yeah.
Especially those looking to upgrade from their HDBs.
Right.
And plus, there haven't been a lot of new launches in the Lentor area recently, so all that pent-up demand likely contributed to, the overwhelming response we saw.
Yeah, it definitely seems like Lentor Central Residences is really riding this waves of positive market sentiment.
Yeah.
Our sources actually mentioned that over 1,100 new condo units were sold that same weekend.
Wow.
So does this signal a broader recovery in the property market?
It seems like Q1 2025 is off to a really strong start.
Okay.
I mean, it's rivaling the sales momentum that we saw at the end of 2024. Low interest rates are definitely making mortgages more attractive.
Right.
And then there's a sense of growing affluence, too. More Singaporeans are able to invest in property.
Yeah. But it's also interesting to see the contrast with projects like Aurea in the core central region, the CCR.
Right.
That only sold 12% of its units over the same period.
Right.
So what's behind this huge difference?
Well, Aurea is a luxury development,
Okay.
and it targets a very specific buyer profile, those high net worth individuals who might be more cautious right now, given the global economic uncertainties.
Yeah.
This highlights a key takeaway, though. The OCR is definitely experiencing a surge in popularity, but the CCR is lagging behind.
Okay, so are we seeing like a shift in buyer priorities?
Possibly.
Are lifestyle and affordability becoming more important than that prestige and exclusivity?
Yeah, it's interesting. 90% of Lentor Central Residence's buyers were Singaporeans,
Oh, wow.
which points to this really strong local demand and maybe a desire for larger, more affordable spaces that are a bit outside of the city center. It raises a really fascinating question about what this means for the future of the OCR.
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, with all this demand, are we looking at a potential price surge in the OCR? I mean, could this create an affordability challenge down the line, especially for those first-time buyers trying to get into the market?
Yeah, that's a really valid concern. While the current demand is driven by some genuine factors, like attractive pricing and lifestyle preferences,
Right.
rapid price increases could make it a lot harder for certain segments to enter the market. It's a delicate balance.
Yeah, so what are some signs we should be watching for to kind of gauge the market's health and maybe avoid that potential bubble situation?
Yeah, keep a close eye on the pace of those price increases.
Okay.
If they start outpacing income growth, that's a red flag.
Okay.
We also need to be wary of excessive borrowing or speculation.
Right.
If investors are flipping properties for quick profits, that could lead to some instability.
So responsible lending practices and a focus on long-term value are pretty crucial here.
Absolutely.
Any advice for buyers trying to navigate this dynamic landscape?
Don't get caught up in the hype. Do your due diligence, research past trends, and really make sure you understand the fundamentals of the market.
Okay.
Be realistic about your budget and make sure that those mortgage payments are manageable even if interest rates rise.
Speaking of interest rates, how big of a role are they playing in the current OCR boom?
Low interest rates are definitely a catalyst. They make borrowing a lot more attractive, so it's empowering buyers to take that step.
Yeah.
But it's not the only factor. The shift towards prioritizing lifestyle, coupled with the development of new amenities and infrastructure in the OCR, that's also driving demand.
Yeah. Lentor Central Residences seems to be a prime example of this. I mean, its success isn't just about the units themselves, but the neighborhood as a whole.
Exactly. The emergence of Lentor Hills with that new MRT station, the mall, and all the other amenities, it's transforming the area into a self-sufficient hub.
Wow.
This integrated development approach, that's a key trend to watch in the OCR.
So Lentor Central Residences might just be the tip of the iceberg.
Maybe.
So what does all this mean for those still sitting on the sidelines waiting to enter the market?
It really reinforces the need for careful consideration. While the OCR definitely offers some attractive options, don't let that fear of missing out dictate your decisions.
Right.
Take your time, do your research, and really assess your individual needs and your financial situation.
It's all about making those informed choices, not the impulsive ones.
Right.
Now let's circle back to the CCR. You mentioned that it's recovering at a slower pace.
Yeah.
So what could stimulate further growth in this segment?
Well, the CCR caters to a more discerning clientele, often influenced by global economic trends.
Okay.
A resurgence in investor confidence may be fueled by some positive economic indicators or attractive incentives from developers that could reignite interest in those luxury properties.
So while the OCR is in the spotlight right now, the CCR could still stage a comeback.
Absolutely.
It's a fascinating dynamic, this interplay between different segments of the market.
Yeah, it really underscores the complexity of this Singapore property market. There's no one-size-fits-all answer, and understanding the nuances of each segment is so crucial for both buyers and investors.
Well, you've definitely given our listeners a lot to ponder. Lentor Central Residence's phenomenal launch has sparked a really compelling conversation about the evolving dynamics of the Singapore property market.
It has. It's been an insightful discussion.
Before we wrap up this deep dive into Singapore's property scene, any final thoughts you'd like to leave our listeners with, especially those considering a move into the OCR?
I think what's really fascinating here is that this surge in OCR demand, it's not just a fleeting trend. It reflects a fundamental shift in priorities, with buyers placing a premium on lifestyle convenience and affordability.
So it's not just about chasing the latest hotspot,
Right.
but understanding the underlying factors that are shaping the market.
Exactly. If we connect this to the bigger picture, it raises an important question. With the sustained demand, is it only a matter of time before OCR prices climb even higher? What does this mean for those still hoping to enter the market?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's one that every potential buyer needs to grapple with.
Thank you for your insights today. You've given us a lot to think about.
It's been my pleasure.
And to our listeners, remember, knowledge is power in the property market. Stay informed, stay curious, and happy investing. Don't forget to subscribe to Singapore Property Talk Law for more deep dives into Singapore's dynamic property scene. We'll be back next week with a fresh look at the latest trends and developments. Until then, happy property hunting.
Yeah, it's fascinating to see how Lentor Central Residences has become like this case study for the OCR boom.
It really does. It highlights how the OCR isn't just about affordability anymore.
Right.
It's about a lifestyle choice.
Yeah.
Buyers are drawn to the convenience, the amenities, and even that sense of community that's developing in these areas.
And with projects like Lentor Central Residences kind of setting a new benchmark,
Yeah.
it's going to be interesting to see how developers respond.
Yeah.
I mean, will we see more projects that cater to this evolving demand?
I think that's inevitable. Developers are always looking for opportunities, and the OCR is ripe with potential right now.
Yeah.
We can expect to see more projects that integrate residential, commercial, and recreational spaces, to create these self-sufficient hubs.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's about creating that complete living experience,
Yeah.
not just building apartments, but with all this development and rising demand, how do we make sure that growth in the OCR is sustainable? I mean, what are some potential pitfalls to watch out for?
That's the big question. One concern is infrastructure.
Okay.
Can the existing infrastructure, like transportation and amenities, keep pace with the rapid development?
Right.
We need to make sure that these areas don't become overcrowded and lose their appeal.
So thoughtful urban planning is key here.
Exactly. We
Right.
don't want to just replicate the congestion issues that we see in some parts of the city center.
Right. And we also need to think about the impact on the environment, too.
Yes.
As more land is developed, we need to make sure the green spaces are preserved and the developers are using sustainable building practices.
Absolutely. It's about striking a balance between progress and preservation.
A thriving OCR that's also environmentally responsible.
Precisely. And ultimately, it's about creating communities that are both vibrant and livable.
Yeah.
Places where people can put down roots and enjoy a high quality of life.
Well said. You've given us a lot to consider as we navigate this exciting new chapter in Singapore's property landscape. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise with us today.
It's been my pleasure.
And to our listeners, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the world of Singapore property. We hope you gained some valuable insights. Remember to subscribe to Singapore Property Talk Law for more in-depth analysis and market updates. Until next time, happy property hunting.